Welcome back. Please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage John Lewis, Chief Knowledge Officer with SearchBlox. John, over to you.
Thanks, everyone. I'm John Lewis with SearchBlox. Today's topic is Improve Self-Service with SmartFAQs powered by AI. Frequently asked questions are found on many websites to provide precise answers instead of just a list of documents and search results. But they're time-consuming to manually produce, the answers get out of sync with other website content, and they rarely address more than 10% of customer questions. In this session, you will learn how to improve customer engagement on your website by providing smart answers, and learn how smart FAQs can automatically generate content-rich questions and answers from your existing content, and how to stop manually creating answers, duplicating answers, and providing even different answers. Before we jump right in, I had a question. What's the most used hyperlink on the internet? Have you thought about that? The answer is the back button. Well, why do people click the back button? Why do they leave our website? Here's some of the top answers that we found. It could be a slow page loading speed. It could be due to content is not engaging. It could be the look and feel's not engaging. But we're finding, more importantly, it's due to an inability to search and find answers. That leads me to a quick introduction. We're SearchBlox. We've been providing search solutions since 2003 for over 600 customers globally, providing secure enterprise solutions for the financial services, healthcare, government, and technology sectors. We're listed in the KM World 100 companies that matter most in knowledge management, also listed in the KM World AI Top 50, listed in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for insight engines, and also in the IDC Market Glance for conversational AI. And for those four sectors, here's some of the industry leaders that rely on SearchBlox. Okay, with that, let's talk about three key reasons to use FAQs on your website. One, I would just say, is engagement. What do we mean by that? Success begets success. By easily finding answers, customers stay engaged on your website longer. And when they're on your website longer, it tends to lead to sales. Increase conversions by answering sales questions. By engaging potential customers, especially at the pre-sale stage, they get the answers they want on their own timetable. There's a stage in the sales process where we're not ready to click buy now or even talk to someone. And this is an important stage where FAQs can help. And then also support. Mitigate service calls by supporting problem solving. By helping customers quickly find answers that help them resolve a problem, calls are reduced and repeat business is increased. Well, how do we do this? What's the dream of how this would all happen? Well, we would say that the information retrieval systems would be designed to find documents and specific answers, leading to that end-user success, increased conversions, and mitigated service calls. Well, at least that's the dream. What's the reality? Unfortunately, the reality has been that the word "and" is really the word "not." That information retrieval systems were designed to find documents, not answers. So that's led us into a lot of workarounds. We realized that specific answers are buried within long documents and not easily found. So the workaround would be, let's do this. It wants to find documents. Let's create documents that only contain one answer. Well, that gets pretty time consuming. So we realized it's not manageable, only except for the most frequent questions. So the FAQ list was born. Now we're realizing there's some unintended consequences with this FAQ strategy that have really become unacceptable, to the point that we're kind of coming full circle back to ask the question again, are you sure with today's AI that these systems can't find answers and pull them out of our documents? We'll look at the answer to that in a minute, but I want to spend some time looking at these unintended consequences that we've been living with. First, there's the reality of frequency. Manually produced FAQs are created based on many assumptions for the frequency of specific questions. People ask questions differently, so some answers are not found, even if you have created an answer for it, if they don't ask it exactly the way that you have written the question. And FAQ answers rarely address more than 10% of user questions. We see that on the graph here, what we call the frequently asked questions, somewhere in the top 10%, is not addressing the long tail of question frequency. Sure, these questions don't get asked very much, but collectively, there's way more questions and answers there than in the top 10% we're trying to create FAQ out of. So instead of frequency guesses before searches, smart FAQs cover the entire range of content and provide analytics afterwards. In other words, it's still called frequent, but we look at frequent as a measurement in a report after people use the system, rather than guessing before they use it. Now let's look at the reality of duplicate content. Manually produced FAQs usually copy snippets of information from a larger document. Duplicate content's difficult to keep in sync. And users find duplicate content, but also when they're not kept in sync, users find competing content. So instead of manually duplicating content, Smart FAQs automatically creates questions and answers and keeps content in sync. And finally, let's look at the reality of dead ends. Manually produced FAQs are typically written as the short answer and out of context with the larger picture, producing dead-end logic. Here's a real example. The billing process for a bank includes mailing customers a billing statement with a pre-printed envelope that includes the bank's mailing address. When customers call and ask for the mailing address, it means other processes have broken, yet they're provided just the answer to their question, the mailing address. So think about some things in your organization that are done this way when we're focused so closely on the idea of frequently asked question that we just answer the question rather than thinking through the process that's really going to solve how we got to that point. Instead of manually creating FAQ snippets of dead-end logic, Smart FAQs always provide contextual links back into richer content. So we've seen the dream, the reality. Let's look at the new reality. Advancements in AI have turned the not into the and again. Information retrieval systems are designed to find documents and answers, to pull specific information out of documents, giving us the end user success, increased conversions, and mitigated service calls we're looking for. A quick summary. First, let's look at this list related to manual FAQs. They're created manually and, more importantly, managed manually. And this is really part of the biggest part of the problem of this idea of FAQ workarounds. They're based on suspected question frequency. FAQs get out of sync with document content, provide dead-end answers. They're presented separately from search results, clicking and expanding separately from searching and finding documents. And finally, search managers do not always have access or permission to change answers. Sometimes you bring in content from many sources that you don't have access to, and you're asked to make a quick change to an important question that you don't have permission or access to. Let's compare this list to Smart FAQs. Here it says They are manually and automatically created FAQs. Wait a minute, we've been talking about smart FAQs as automatically created, but a smart FAQ system, in addition to generating automatically FAQs for you, you would want it to also handle the manually created FAQs. So let's face it, a lot of organizations looking at this question of just using manually created FAQs are not ready to just entirely throw all of that work away and leap into smart FAQs. They would like to still embed and import their manually created FAQs for those top questions they know that they're going to get. So the Smart FAQ system allows us to manage both. It's based on the entire range of content, and answers are kept in sync with document content. They provide precise answers and contextual links back into the richer content, and it's integrated with search results. And then search managers have the capability to change answers based on administrative permissions. Well, one way of thinking about this really is this is a paradigm shift, okay? I know maybe not quite this dramatic, but there was a time when we thought of the atom as the smallest material object, and then a paradigm shift, a new way of thinking has us talking about subatomic particles. So similarly, we used to talk about documents as the smallest searchable object. So today we really are talking about a paradigm shift as we think about smart FAQs. This is a quick look at smart FAQs in action. So it crawls content sources across the organization. NLP automation generates a related list of the content-rich questions, and results are tuned for relevancy based on user engagement. What they click on, what they don't click on, if they click a thumbs up or thumbs down is all integrated. Users can access the precise answers and also the contextually relevant information with links back into the documents where the fact was found. And then insights and analytics show what users are actually searching for, creating a feedback loop that continuously makes the system work better. All right, let's take a look at some examples of this technology. This is some related questions within internet search results, actually on Google's homepage. You might have noticed that instead of searching and your query matching a bunch of URLs or documents and a list of links, that recently they're bringing up specific questions and answers before we get to those links. So this is a question with a query of what is a router, and we start to see answers like, is a router and Wi-Fi the same thing? Kind of common mistakes and questions that you see related to your question that you can click on, automatically generated. Here's another example. This one's interesting. What is FAQ? Because it recognizes that you're asking what is, it's bringing up a dictionary a term. And then also under that, people also ask, well, what are some related things that people ask? The one I wanted to point out is actually the first one. If you read that, it's not the way we would probably write an FAQ. It says, what is the FAQ means? Probably not the way we'd word it. But I wanted to point out that the AI technology that's generating questions is not always perfect. It's getting pretty close, and clearly Google has decided the trade-off and the value of it is worth seeing wording like this now and then. But for Smart FAQ, internally, before your material shows up, you have a chance to go through and curate that content. Let's take a look at some of those examples. If my query is, how do I extend the range of my Wi-Fi? Well, the first one came back. It said, how do I set up Wi-Fi? Well, I'm not ready to set it up. I'm not even sure that's a thing, a noun, an extender. I just was thinking of it as a verb. But now I see that there's a document that's got videos. I'm probably going to click on this one first and go watch those. Here's a query that says reset password. And I can click on, how do I reset it? I can start reading an answer here that says basically the default password is password. Click log in. I can try that. If that works, that's great. If not, I can click and go into the larger documents. Here we're also seeing that thumbs up and thumbs down with the actual current ratings shown to the end users, which is an option versus an option of not showing those. Here's a query that just says payment methods. How many payment methods? It says if you only have one method on file, you'll be unable to remove it until after a new payment method. So I'll click the next one. How do I update it? I go to the account page. So this is just automatically created a list of what we've noticed is around 5 FAQs kind of capture collectively the query that people are typing in and provide the answers they're looking for. And again, these clicks, as you click and expand on an FAQ, is collected for analytics. If I click on the link and go into the larger document, that information is collected as well as the thumbs up and thumbs down. Here's another example, just typing in phone number. And I might have been looking for maybe an 800 phone number, but it didn't come up. Perhaps this company doesn't list it or make it that findable in their content that we are scanning. But I did find this one that I thought was interesting. How do you verify your phone number? It's wanting to make sure that that you can verify it later. You don't have to do it initially in the process. Select send code from a banner. You'll see it in your account. So I have the answer if that's what I'm trying to do, or I can click on other FAQ or on the link into the document this came from. Here's one that just says prescription drug coverage, something people are interested in at different companies. As I expand it, some top answers and amounts are there. If I want deeper information, I can click the link again and go find the page with all of the content and plans and so forth. And one more, I might have a question about personal information. And on this site, I see that it says, what is not a secure method of communication of personal information? So one of the things I wanted to point out here, this pulled out a sentence from a larger document that says, note that regular email is not a secure method of communication of personal information. So one of the things I wanted to point out that we're finding as we compare how people write FAQs versus how AI is writing them. As you scan through larger documents, larger policy documents, and larger procedure documents, do it this way, but don't do it this way, and you won't be able to do it on the app. You'll have to do this in the browser. Make sure you don't do this. All of those types of things, usually if you're writing a larger document, are captured. But then when we're asked to write a frequently asked question, how do we do it? They're usually written with the steps. Here's what you do. And if we ask, what is this? This is what it is. The idea of adding not to FAQs does not come up as much with human written FAQs as we're finding with AI FAQs, which is interesting. And I'm finding that it actually adds a side to a level of understanding that is actually better than the way we manually produce or think of writing FAQs. Okay. So, who is SmartFAQs great for? Well, one, I'd say organizations with multiple client touchpoints, help desk, knowledge center, email support, self-service chatbots, and etc. Two, product owners who want to automatically generate training materials for customers and internal teams. Three, marketing and sales leaders who want to keep complex product information up to date and readily available without relying on technical team capacity. 4, support contact centers looking to provide better, faster information for customers. And 5, HR, communications, and internal departments to answer questions about processes. Okay, with that, a quick summary from the SearchBlox side of things. The product line's really focusing initially on enterprise search, which includes platinum support if needed, also fully managed enterprise search capability, site search, and e-commerce search. Also have a Search AI product line. It includes Smart FAQs, Pretext NLP, Smart Suggest Answers, personalization, and chatbot. And of course, today we have focused on SmartFAQs. For our presentation today, hope that you can improve customer engagement on your website by providing smart answers. SmartFAQs can automatically generate content-rich questions and answers from your existing content. And stop manually creating answers, duplicating answers, and providing different answers as you consider what is next-gen customer service. Okay, with that, I'm John Lewis with SearchBlox. Thanks for attending our session today on SmartFAQ.
Thank you, John. Up next, take a wellness break with us. Lizzie from 2 Minute Moves shares her 15-minute get up and go at your desk exercises alongside some fun tunes to get your blood flowing and energy going. To join the wellness break, simply return to the Event Hub and click View Session.